delighted now to be chatting to Billy Holland ahead of a huge game for Munster against the Springboks at a packed-out Páirc Uí Chaoimh next week. As a former Munster man yourself, Billy, how much will the players be looking forward to this one?
These type of events, they're kind of once in a lifetime, really. As a professional rugby player, you get to play in a few special occasions. This is certainly one of them. To play for Munster against an international side in itself is unique, but to do it in Páirc Uí Chaoimh in Cork, sold out Thursday night against the defending World Cup winners is, it's just a really special occasion. And you're adding in the fact that you've got 3 ex-Munster coaches as well on the South African side of things. So it kind of all stacks up to be an incredible evening.
When there's occasions like this coming up, does it make you want to dust off the boots again and get back out there?
Oh, yeah. I'd be a few kilos off the way now at this stage, but I'd love to have my word out. I always wanted to play in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, to play a rugby match in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. That would have been a really special part of your career. And I unfortunately lost 3 European Cup semi-finals, which were home matches in the Aviva. And I know that if any of them were in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, we would have come out the other side of certainly one of the results at least. So there's definitely an element of jealousy, but look, better late than never. I hope it's something that continues on in the future. I think it's great for GA, great for Munster Rugby, and most importantly, it's so good for the people of Cork. It's good for the kids who are going to get to see some of their heroes playing in Cork. And it's for supporters who've been travelling up and down the road to Home Park, the big games, to finally have one on your front door in our beloved Páirc Uí Chaoimh makes it even more special.
You're probably in tip-top shape yourself after your exertions in the last couple of weeks when following you there on TV. Like, what sort of experience was that? It seemed incredible watching from the outside.
It was mad. It was all mad from start to finish. It was, you're just taken out of your comfort zone from the get-go. You're sleep deprived. I think I had 9 hours sleep over the 6 days. Your mind is playing tricks with you. You're hungry. You're learning new skills the whole time. You're trying to remember things where they tell you how you pack your bag specifically, what goes where and has to be perfect. And at the same time, then they're shouting at you relentlessly and getting stuck into you. So, and then on top of it, doing things that you're scared of, if you're not comfortable with heights or enclosed spaces. So it's just a whirlwind of sensual deprivation, and you just don't know what's going on half the time. But it was like, I'm so glad I did it. I'm very proud that I did it, but never again.
And how much satisfaction do you take in, Billy, from actually passing at the end? I think there was a 3 at the end yourself, Sitant and David Gillick, the 3.
Huge pride. There's 20 of us went into it, and for 3 of us to come out the far side and to be one of the 3, I take enormous pride in it. It's a real personal achievement. To be recognised by those individuals, the Army Ranger Wing. They're a special group of people. They're obviously supreme athletes, but they've just got this really high emotional intelligence, a high EQ. They're so perceptive. They're savagely intelligent people. So to get their seal of approval means a lot.
Fair dues to you. I know how you put yourself through it. I was getting tired watching you on TV. So looking at the Cork Munster group. So if you could pick one fella from the Cork Munster team to put them into Hell Week, who'd you put in?
Jack O'Donoghue, and he'd be done by the first night. He'd love to sleep and his rest. Who would I put in? That's a tough to do well in it, like.
Or even just to suffer and struggle.
Jack O'Donoghue. I'd have to go with Jack O'Donoghue. I'd love to see how he'd fare in it. If you put in Niall Scannell, I'd say the DSs would give up. I'd say he'd break them.
It's such a great experience for you. But bringing this back to rugby now and down to West Cork for a second, because West Cork rugby is hopping at the moment. We have so many West Cork lads in the Munster setup, and so many are impressing as well. I just see there that Fineen Mitchell signed a new contract lately. But looking first at Gavin Coombs back in with the Ireland squad again. Is he someone you've been impressed with over the last couple of years? His rise.
Yeah, big time. Look, Anthony Foley brought Gavin Coombs in when he was he was a tall, gangly 18-year-old who had good skills, and he beefed out into being a big West Cork man. But the talent coming from that neck of the woods is phenomenal. Gavin Coombs, I think Liam Coombs really impresses me. Fineen Wycherley, Josh Wycherley, now Jack Crowley stepping up to the plate. It's a testament to the athletic ability of a lot of these guys who probably came up through GA backgrounds and maybe didn't play your typical, schools rugby. And it's great to see guys coming up to those ranks through club systems and with GA backgrounds. Darren Sweeten was, a trendsetter a few years back. And that's why games like this are really important, because it's important for the people of Cork to be able to just go to their doorstep and watch, these heroes playing. And it's so important that Munster do play games around the province as much as possible and get as much exposure. And I know they're doing it the whole time with kids camps and community engagement things, and Munster are really active in that area. Well, Munster's a big province, and but with a smaller population base than Leinster, so you need to really get everything that you can. But look, back to Gavin Coombs, he's a special talent. He's the type of guy you want in your team, and like he scored 23 tries or something for Munster in 50 odd games. A winger would be happy with that. So he's a great lad. That's the thing about all these guys, they're proper salt of the earth lads. Nothing. They're the quickest lads in the world to bring you back down to earth if anyone ever gets above their station, and that's a hugely important part of it too.
You mentioned there Jack Crowley and obviously Josh Wycherley today, impressed in that Emerging Ireland and talent tour a couple of weeks ago. Are these two players you can see stepping up with Munster over the next couple of years? I know Josh has over the last couple of seasons, and Jack is getting his chance now. But are they two fellas you're excited to see what they can do?
Yeah, big time. They're both really talented. I would have had reservations over that Emerging Ireland tour. I thought the timing of it was poor, but the guys have come back from a real pep in their step. You look at Thomas Ahern has been excellent for Munster as well since he's come back. So the guys who were at home for Munster were probably it was a difficult time, and then these young fellas came back from South Africa with a real pep in their step, a real buzz about them, and they've really transferred it onto the pitch, which is important. So yeah, look, Jack Crowley, I've seen him play for Con many, many times, and he's really stepping up to the mark at the moment for Munster. Lest we forget, Ben Healy is an exceptional talent as an out half as well. And then Josh, Josh had his first start over in Clermont Auvergne a few years ago and had a rough start to that game and came up trumps in the end. And he's another huge talent, and he's learned a lot from his brother Fineen over the years, who I'm delighted to see has signed on for another 2 years. He's a hugely talented player who probably doesn't get the recognition he deserves so far, but hopefully we'll see that over the years.
Fineen was in before with the Ireland team, the extended Ireland panel, and he's out injured at the moment, I think. But what do you think Fineen needs to do to take that next step, to almost follow what Gavin has done and become a more permanent fixture around the Ireland squad?
It's probably, some of it's a bit of chicken and egg. He needs to be playing for Munster while Munster are winning as well. He has stepped up, and crawling lineouts is reasonably new to him, and he had a great season of that last year. So it's just about time in the jersey. It's about performing week in, week out, and that's what they look for up in national camp: is, are you a consistent performer? And I think Fineen just needs a run of it now this season, playing in the second row, calling lineouts, and Munster back to winning ways. I think when that happens, you see more guys automatically getting up into the squad. Don't think Fineen needs to do a whole lot in regard to his game. I think his game is excellent. I think it's kind of a case of just being the shop window the whole time, and Munster winning and being a pack leader in a team that's winning. I think that's important. And then when it comes to the local derbies, the Interpros winning them, because they're the guys you're actually competing against for those positions.
Another local guy we haven't mentioned from down this neck of the woods is John Hodnett from Rosscarbery.
John Hodnett, yeah, he owes me a jar of honey actually from his local beehive.
Good luck trying to get that off him, but he's another fella, Billy, like played with Carbery Rangers up till, was he under 19 or under 21 at that level. But from that GA background, when you think of West Cork, traditionally it's football country here in Cork, it's football territory. But to see these rugby players coming out, like we said, the Wycherleys and John Hodnett, Darren, it's just great to see that there's such a rich harvest of rugby players in West Cork right now.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of talented sporting individuals down in West Cork. You look at the rowers down in Skibbereen. It's must be something in the water down there. People joke about that, but it's the way of life down there. They're all out and about. A lot of them are from farming backgrounds. They're playing sports at a young age, and it's really important. And when you're a kid, it doesn't matter what sport you're playing, as long as you're active and you're playing a sport. What group you fall into in years to come, John Hodnett fell into the rugby group. Darren Sweetnam could have gone either way, and that comes in time. And that's not what's important. What's important is you've got kids out playing, and John Hodnett is like, you look at the size of him, what he does on the rugby pitch, it doesn't make sense. He's got an amazing heart, amazing engine, but just such natural power and skill. And hopefully we see much more of him over the years to come. I'd love watching John play.
And what we have now, I know it's sold out in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, the big game coming up, but we'll have lots of fans from West Cork travelling up to the city to watch their local heroes playing against the Springboks. So what are you expecting from the game, Billy?
What am I expecting from the game? Well, firstly, Munster have no right to win the game. It's just on paper, they have no right to win, but that's not what this game is about. I just want to see guys in their rawest form. I want to see just energy, emotion. I want to see the crowd behind them. And when you see that, I think Munster will be in a good place. I think they need to have add in a bit of discipline and some, so that you're not defending mauls 5 meters out, which will be very difficult to stop against South Africa. But it's just that heart, that energy, that courage. That's what you want to see from them against a team who, on paper, are, they're going to be really impressive. And
final question, Billy, and you've been so kind with your time. Things haven't been going so well for Munster so far this year, but do you think this is the sort of game? Like, obviously, it's an exhibition game, but it's a sort of game for fellas just to take their mind off the league form, to get a good game under the belt against a good team, like obviously just the world champions like the Springboks, but almost use it as a positive to hopefully kind of launch better results and better performances coming up.
Absolutely. Look, a game like this, form holds no bearing. Form has no memory in a game like this. So, Munster perform in this game, and if they win, or even if they've just a really, really good performance, it'll just give them a huge amount of confidence. I think that's part of it. You've got a really young group who are maybe lacking in a bit of confidence, and that'll be just so important for them going forward. And you're right, it could, I think their season is going in the right direction. You see their performance are really, really improving. But something like this will just bring them to another level altogether, and I'm excited for it. And I hope it is the occasion it deserves to be for the supporters and the players and everyone who's been involved in making this happen. I hope it is what it deserves to be.
And hopefully another famous Munster win against one of the Southern Hemisphere teams next week. Thanks so much for your time, Billy.
Thanks, Kieran.